This is Sex Drive, your podcast straight from the road. Welcome to a ride where pleasure meets the everyday and nothing is off limits. Last week we touched on some basics around desire. This week I want to tap into the different kinds of desires and why sexual desire is actually not a drive. Like hunger is a drive, right? And the need for food drives us to eat something. If we look at desire through the same lens, meaning that it's a drive, something that we need to do in order to fulfill a certain need, then that brings out many problems. But when it comes to desire, it also brings out that feeling of there's something wrong with me because I do not have any kind of sex drive. So sexual desire not actually being a drive is good news. There are two different types of desires. We've got spontaneous desire and we've got responsive desire. Now there is a very small percentage of people that experience, or let's not say very small, let's say a smaller percentage that experiences spontaneous desire. Sexual desire happens when we are aroused, when there's something that turns us on. I touched on the sexiest times for me and my partner being when we're away without the kids. Emily Nagoski calls that context-sensitive desire, which basically means that we are responding to our environment, to what is going on around us. We have been taught that it should be in our capacity to want sex, to desire sex in pretty much any context at any given time, and that if we don't, there's something wrong with us, we're not normal. Well, that is just a lie. So it is important to point out that sex is not a drive. Hunger is a drive. If we don't eat, we'll die. Thirst is a drive. If we don't drink, we'll die. If we don't have sex, we won't die. So sex should not be looked at as a drive, and rather as something that is linked to situations, to environments, to our inner compass, to pleasure, and how much all of those things are intertwined and come together in that moment for us to be able to tap into sexiness. If you're not experiencing pleasure and joy in your intimacy, then that is the first thing that needs focus and attention. If you are experiencing pain during sex, I need you to know that that is not normal, and that there are some great specialists out there. Whether it's go talk to your medical provider that you trust, there are some great people in women's health. Go talk to your pelvic floor physio, go find an intimacy coach or counselor, and make sure that you address those topics and nip them in the bud. Like I said, the majority of us, if not most of us, experience responsive desire, meaning the setting is right, the pleasure is right, the partner is right, the time of the month is right. Like all those things are actually working towards us and not against us. And then we are responsive, we are responding to input. We are responding to, okay, I've got a moment to breathe, I've had a bath, I've had something nice to eat, I've had a conversation without being interrupted, I feel really good about myself. And now my partner is leaning in and we are maybe touching, we may be kissing. My brain is going to be like, yeah, I like that. It also knows that what's coming is going to feel nice. Now that is responsive desire. You're not spontaneously jumping at one another out of nowhere, but you're actually responding to the effort that the two people coming together for sex have put in. We've got a brake and an accelerator, and we've all got that built into us, just like a car has both. And ideally they work together, not always on, not always off, depending on the circumstance. You can't always stand on the brake you can't always be on the accelerator. There are people who are generally leaning more towards standing on the brake, while as there are others who are generally leaning more towards standing on the accelerator. That is important to understand, like, where do I stand? If I think about it, am I more the type that's like hesitant, that's like let's maybe just keep it on the brake a bit more? Or am I more the type that's like, okay, yeah, sure, let's go? That is the initial makeup. Now, whatever's happening around us, like we've just heard, plays into that. Now, if you're already the type that's leaning more towards the brake, and there are a million stresses, those are things that are going to pull that handbrake up. You're driving your car all day with your handbrake up. It's still going to move, but it moves with that handbrake up. Now, your partner, who may be leaning towards the accelerator already, has had a really good day and comes home and is in the mood, leaning even more into that because of the kind of day that they had. Now, if we've got two partners where one is on the brake and one is on the accelerator, just as they make up and they're trying to find common ground, it's again very difficult. So as much as we need to know how to turn off the offs, we also need to know how to turn off the ons. If one of your partners, or if one of the partners is standing on the accelerator more, what are the things that are maybe triggering that even more? What is helping to spike it, and how do we bring that down? Because remember, if one is here and one is here and you want to come together, you're going to have to both move a little to find common ground. At the end of the day, it boils down to, we are not all the same. In actual fact, I believe that each and every one of us is different. And if we try to create a norm, then the abnormal is everywhere, because there's only such a small percentage that can ever fit the norm. All of us are normal. There's no abnormal. It's just the narrative that has been created around these topics is not helping. So the main thing that I want you to remember in this episode of Sex Drive is that sex is in actual fact not a drive. Something that we want, not something that we need. And once we stop believing that it is something that we need, but it's actually something that we can teach ourselves to want, to desire, to react on when the circumstances are right, things become a lot easier. Here's my advice for you today. Make sure that the outcome is something to be desired, and try to stay curious in whatever it is you try and do. I moved to Cape Town in search of a slower, sweeter life, and found a place that cracked me open in the most beautiful ways possible. So I'm taking you with me to the places that keep me grounded, curious, and connected. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please don't forget to give us a follow. If you have any feedback or suggestions for future conversations, please drop me a message on WhatsApp on 064 609 4089. Now lean back and enjoy Claire Phillips and Brendan Adams, who will be taking you to where proteas grow wild. Thanks for riding with me. Be safe, stay curious.